wanted us to now look into how we can make our Android apps functional. What we did last time was just to build the UI, but I'll also build a basic UI from scratch so that you can see if you weren't able to get how we were doing it, you can just see how you can build a simple user interface. But now we're going to take it a little bit further and add logic to our application such that maybe our buttons can be interactable and the user can also maybe change things or move from different screens. And what I'll do is I'll launch my Android Studio, which is the programming IDE that Android uses. And if there's a project that is there, I can just close it so that we can start from scratch. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll just create a new project. I'll just say a new project, just select a new project. And as we said, Android can be used to build for multiple targets. You can build for phone and tablet, you can build for your smartwatches if you have a smartwatch. By the way, if you have an Android smartwatch, there's a way you can build an app for it. So that is a cool thing that you can look into. If you have an Android television, you can also build an app for your TV. How cool would that be? So you can try all these things out. If you want to build for automotive, you can also build that with Android Studio. And what we are going to do, we are going to start on a new activity. So all these activities that you're seeing here, so just think of an activity as a screen in your app. Think of an activity as maybe different pages that your app will maybe have. I'll just try to keep it as simple as possible, not go into the very core definitions or things that may overwhelm you. And one thing that you need to be careful, since we are using Java as our programming language, we don't want to select this first empty activity. And I told you because this one is designed in a way that it just uses only Kotlin. If you are to go to next, you can't be able to switch between languages. So what you need to do is select the empty views activity. You just select the empty views activity, and now what this will do, it will give you an opportunity to use Java as your programming language. And you can see we can have so many different types of views, the basic views, the bottom navigation. These are the different views that you can have for your app. In this case, we are starting from scratch, so we just create an empty one so that we can build everything from the ground up. Then click on next, and as you can see, by default the language is selected as Kotlin, and we don't want to use that because we are using Java, so we select our programming language to be Java. And the package name, and this is the package name that we said, it's just think of it as a unique identifier to your app, especially when you upload your app to the Play Store. Your app will use this as part of the URL or as part of the website, which will comprise your app link to the App Store. So it's a unique identifier to your app. So if we were building an app that was called, what do we call it? I don't have a name. My amazing app. So if you are doing that, you can this will be the name that your app will display when you install it on your phone. And you can see it has written as com.example. The app name, so it's com. Maybe the company name. In this case they have said example, so you can just say anything that you want. So but this doesn't matter, you can just leave it as the default com.example.myamazingapp. And that is what, if you go to Google Play Store, uh, you'll see that all those apps have their unique name. If it's an app like EA Sports FC Euro 2024, you'll see that it starts with its app identifier here as the last thing is com.ea.gp. So you can see this EA is the company name, of which it's Electronic Arts EA Sports, and the name of the app is FIFA Mobile. And you can just go to any app and you'll see that the last identifier, which forms part of the website, is actually starts with what you can see. If I was to select the Jurassic Rescue, you can see blah 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 com dot imai dot Jurassic Rescue Free. So that is the name that they designed, or they just gave it on Android Studio. Just know that whatever is here is what will be used to uniquely identify your app on Play Store. And for the minimum SDK is the minimum Android level that your app will be supported. So if someone has a phone that has Android 6, that app will not be able to run on their app. And that's why we say it's the same reason why you tend to find some apps on the Play Store. When you visit a certain app on Play Store, it can tell you that this app is not compatible with your device. So maybe your device does not meet an API requirement. And if you select, here is where you can select. If you select the most recent ones, something like Android 10, 13, you will see that there's a caveat down here, and it tells you that if you select Android 7, your app will run on approximately 97% of devices. If you select something like Android 8, that percent is going to go down, because maybe not most people have 95% of the people are the only ones that have Android 8, and if you go to Android 11, it goes down again. It's because you won't expect that everyone has the latest Android phone, Android operating system or API. If you go to like the latest one, you'll see that it's just 33% that will run your devices. And the balance here is, if you maybe select the recent APIs, you'll be able to use some of the really nice features that Google has introduced to Android. So if you select Android 14, you can use all those new features that Google has implemented in Android 14. But the only problem will be that your app will run on approximately just 13% of devices globally. So this is the statistics from Google. But if you select maybe a very late Android app, so you can see it will very like the olden days Android, the likes of Jelly Bean, Android 4.1, you can see it will run on 100% of the devices. But the problem on this is that you won't be able to use the most recent features that Google has implemented in Android. You will use the basic features that were there maybe 10 years ago for Android, more than 15 years ago, something like that. And that is the only caveat to all of this. So Android Studio just picks for you a recommended. The one that was recommended was Android 7. And it will give you some of the most recent features, and I've said some, but not all. And it will also ensure that your app will run on quite a huge chunk of devices out there. And what I'll do is I'll click on finish. So my app will be named as My Amazing App, and click on finish. After I click on finish, Android Studio will start building my app with Gradle, and it will create all the configurations. It will download anything necessary. That is why I was telling you, when you're maybe creating your Android app, it's good for you to be connected to the internet, because as it's creating your app, sometimes you'll tend to see Gradle will start downloading additional dependencies to your Android application. And that is it. This is the starter code. So you can see Android has quite a load of code from the word go. So this is the basic code when you just launch your Android Studio. And let me maximize my Android Studio so that I can fit the entire screen. And what Gradle is doing is that Gradle is still building our application, which may take some time, but for your app to work correctly and for you to be able to design your app, Gradle has to build your app successfully. So if you get any Gradle errors, you have to ensure that you solve them all before working on your app, because basically you actually can't, because something like the design, how you design your app won't work until Gradle has finished building your application. So let it cook. As it's still cooking, Kotlin adaptation. So the programming language that we are using here is Java, and you can also use Kotlin if you wanted to, or if you know Kotlin. But if you know Java, it's quite easy to jump into Kotlin. And I also think that they can actually coexist in the same project. There's a way these two languages can coexist, but I have never tried that. In this case, you're going to be using Java, and it's taking quite a minute. So let's just give it some time. So this is just to show you in real time how creating an app sometimes just takes a minute. So let me just see. My RAM is 10 GB used. Who is using so much of my RAM? Let's see. Android Studio is taking up 2 GB of RAM, so that is already something. So the browser, yeah, so that is why it's recommended that when using Android Studio, you need to have a minimum of, it's good to have a minimum RAM of 8 GB. If you don't have 8 GB, you can upgrade it. If you have 4 GB, you can try to upgrade it to 8 GB by buying maybe a second RAM stick. And also by running an emulator, by running your app on an emulator, that will also require more RAM. So you can imagine Android Studio already taking up so much of your RAM, and also having an emulator to run your app. So that is why it's recommended to be testing on your, or to be testing your app on your real Android device. And it's actually taking quite some time, and it shouldn't do this. I think it's, yeah, I think Android Studio is not actually responding. It's not responding, and what I can do is just, let me give it just a minute, because it's literally not responding. What I can do, I can just force quit it and launch it again. Okay, I think I saw there was a change in Gradle. Come on, Gradle. Okay, all the other apps are doing well, but Android Studio has decided the day is today. No, I'm not taking this because this is it's not normal. It shouldn't be taking that much time to build. So let me just first quit it and then launch it back again. I think it should be good by then. And just launch it back again. Where is Android Studio? Android Studio, Android Studio. So it should build quite faster this time because it's already scanning files to index. And come on, Android Studio. Or I should just show it that I'm not in a hurry. So there was people normally say that if you want your computer to just hurry up, just show it that you're not in a hurry. So yeah, but it has already loaded, and this is actually, or we can, yeah, we can actually just use this. So let it just finish loading. It's loading, loading, and loading. It's scanning all the files to index. So we have different tools for our Android app. Scanning files to index. And just to show you the project structure for Android, when you launch your Android app as we have created it, uh, you'll see that on your left you have different files and folders. Okay, something like the manifests. We have the Android manifests, so which will contain the Android manifest file. So this Android manifest file, here is where much of the setup is done. If your app needs the permission to use the internet, or if your app needs the permission to read your storage. So you normally see a pop-up when you want to maybe take a picture from a certain app that is not your camera. The app normally tells you, allow this app to use the camera. Such things you normally define them on the Android manifest file. Here is where you define maybe all the permissions that your app might need. If your app needed to read the user files, when you install WhatsApp for the first time, it actually asks you to allow it to read your media files, or allow it to your photos, allow it to whatever the permission it needs. If it's location, allow location. So if you are to define the location permission, you would have defined it in the Android manifest file. So just think of it as a setup, and it also says which screen. It's also used to organize your screens. It can be used to define the screen that will be used to launch your app. If you had maybe two screens for maybe login and sign up, if you wanted the first screen to be sign up, you can declare it here and say, I want my launch screen. When I open my app, I want the first thing to be viewed to be the sign up screen and not the login screen. And yeah, that is it for the Android manifest. And then the other one is the Java. So here is where you'll be writing your Java code. You can see it's Java, and then com dot example dot whatever you named your app. So it has just opened another app that was here called navigation, but yeah, it's just the same thing. It doesn't have anything that this is just the basic app. There's nothing that this app has been done for, and you'll find your main activity in the com.example.navigation. And in this case, it's because I have named my app navigation. It just opened on this app, and I've just decided to continue on this app because it's still an empty app. There's nothing here. And here is where you'll be writing your Java code. And this is the starter code for Java Android. And the last one is the RES, the resources. If you had maybe images to your app, we actually added an image to our app last time, and to add that image you have to drag your image or copy and paste it in the drawables folder. If it's for the layout, because we say that each screen should have its own layout file, or each activity you can be creating the layout files. So this main activity normally has its layout file, and the layout file is called activity main. So you'll find your layouts in the layouts folder, and when you double click on activity main, it should open up the activity main designer window, where you can now be able to create your user interface. And the next one is called the MIP map. MIP map here is where you can store maybe the app icons or something. As you can see, this is the IC launcher. This is an icon that our app will be using. If you can open it up, you'll see that it's actually an image. It's the default Android image. If you don't provide an image, it normally uses the image that is present in the MIP map folder. And with the image, I am saying the launcher icon. IC launcher, I think it could stand for icon launcher. And for the values, this is where you can store the colors or the strings. So if I wanted to add a color red, if I wanted to add a color red, I can come here and say add color, and then name. I name it as red. And to define the color, you have to use this hex code. This is what we call a hexadecimal code for a color. And for color white, the hexadecimal code, the hex code for white is FFFF, and then for black is FF000 or whatever. For red, you can just Google and see. So let me just Google hex code color for red. Hex code color for red, and you can see it's hash FF and then 4 zeros. That is the hex code for color red. And what I'll do is I'll just paste that FF 000, and then let's see something like green color, then say name is equals to green, color green, and then let's see the hex code for color green. This is how you can hex code for green. And the hex code for color green is hash 00FF00. Don't know why Android Studio is taking so much time to load. It's still loading, computing the project size. So that is where you can this is how you can maybe define your colors in the values folder. And also something else you can define in your values, these are the string the strings. If you want to specify maybe something like the app title or different or different words that you want to display to your screen, it's recommended, instead of just going to the activity class, the activity XML file, and hard coding your values there for your app, it's recommended you just use whatever string you will use in your app, just define it in the strings values folder. So if you can see by default, the app name is named as navigation. So if we wanted to change the name of our app, we can actually do it here and say something like my amazing app. My amazing app. That is how you can change the, what do we call it, the app name. If you wanted to add another string, such as maybe the title of the app, you can say string title, app title, string title. Let me just call it title, and you say it's equals to, you have to provide the name. This is the name, and then string name, and then it's called app underscore title, and then you give its value. The app title will be, this is my app. So when you want to display anywhere in your display something like this is my app, you just say get that value from strings and then use the app title. I don't know, I think you can just see this practically. There was a way we were changing some certain text in our activity main. So this is our editor window, and we say this is the design view, and the blue one is what we call the blueprint. And what I'll do is I'll hide the blueprint because I don't want to see both of them. I want to see just the design so that I can maximize it or just make it larger. And what we can do, it starts with the hello world. So think of this as the hello world for Android. And if I wanted to change the text, I just right click and then click on go to XML, and as you can see, it's a text view. Now if I wanted to change the text that is present in this hello world design, and how I have introduced my screen here is I have clicked on top right, there's code view, there's the code and the design view, which is called split, and there's the design view. So you can either choose design view, you can choose you split the code and the design, and you can view just the code only. So what I do, I can just split so that if I update the code, I can see my changes. I can see my changes in real time. So let me just, we said if you wanted to change that text to hello, to something else and not hello world, you can just edit here, hello, you just say something like class. Hello class, and as you can see the text has changed to hello class. If you wanted to increase the size of the class of the text, you just say text size and then wait for Android Studio to produce that highlighted code, and then press on enter, and it will give you a platform to a code. It will autocomplete the code for you to change the size. And we say that the size is measured in what we call SP. If I wanted if I wanted it to be bigger, I can say it can be something like 30 SP. If I wanted it to be bigger than that, I can say 40 SP, 50 SP, something like that. Yeah. So that is how you can display this. But this is not what we want. As you can see, if I just hover over here, it's telling me that hello class is hard coded. You should use @string. And what it's referring to, it's just trying to tell me that whatever you're doing here is not recommended. If you want to change the text, use something we call a string resource, which is found in the values. So if I wanted to, to display something like this is my app, something like this, I can just say go to the string class and use the app title. So if I wanted to display this word like this is my app, see what I will do. I will delete that and then say at string, and then I will say at strings, and then at string, and then what did I call it? It will complete for me. At string, and then it's app name, app title, at string app underscore title. And you can see that it has actually changed to this is my app. And where is it getting that value from? From at string, and then the name of that value is app title. So it's going to the strings folder, and the strings.xml, it has the keyword that is called app title. So just think of this as the key, and this is the value. Think of the app name as the key, and this is the value. And if I wanted to add something else, something like click here to login, I can say string name is equals to login text, something like login text, and the login text will be click here to login. Now if I want to display something like click here to login in my app, I don't have to come here and say just mess with my text and say click here to login. I don't have to do this because this is not recommended. What is recommended is you use the at string and then login text, and you can see it's formatting it to click here to login. So that is how you can use the values in the what in our values folder. And for the colors, you can see these are the colors that are defined. And which other color can I add? I can maybe add a color blue. Color name is equals to blue. And then what is the hex code for color blue? Hex code for blue, you can say hex code for blue, and for blue it's 00FFF, whatever. And so think of it as the same thing. This is the key and this is the value. This is the key, the blue, and the value. And if I wanted to now change the background of my screen, I can come to the layout up here and say something like the background. Just write background, and Android Studio will generate that code for me to set the background, and then click on the first one. And as you can see, there is something I can use called @color. And @color, it can use all these colors that I have defined here. And let's say I want to use the new color blue, so I can say @color and then say blue. So you see that the color has changed to blue. If I want red, I can just change to red. And if I want which color? Black. If I want black, I can change to black. The same case if I want to change the text color. As you can see, the text color is not that visible. So I want to make the text color to be white. I can say text color. And then wait for Android Studio to generate that code for me, and then click on the first one, text color, and then say at color, and then say white. And you can see the text has changed to color white. So this is how you can define your things so that you don't hard code things, such that if you needed to change, like click here to log in, if you needed to change this text, you don't have to come to your code to change all that. You just come to the strings and say click here to click to log in. Maybe you wanted to remove click here to log in, so you wanted to remove that here, so you just remove it in the strings code, in the strings resources file. And as you can see, let it load. Exactly, as you can see, it has refreshed itself automatically in the code, and you don't have to do all that all over again. And that is it. And another thing to use strings, these strings is normally really used for localization. If you wanted your app to have multiple languages, there's absolutely no way you can do that by hard coding your text in the XML file, in your layout XML file. If you wanted your language to support English, Spanish, blah blah blah, everything, you have to define your languages here. And as you can see up here, it's actually even written edit translations for all locales in the translation editor. So you can actually even use an editor. So here is the editor. It works the same way as the strings now works. It's because most people were defining the different languages here in the strings, but now, as you can see, it's just the same thing. It has the key, it's taking the keys from our strings.xml, and that is something just to consider when you're about to release your app. So what I want us to do now is just create a simple user interface, and we have maybe a login and a sign up. So we can design our app. We can have this as the app title up here. So our app title, it will be, I don't want it to be click to login. So I can come here and define a string and say string, and say sign up title. Okay, sign up underscore title, and the sign up title will be displaying sign up to app, sign up to app. And if I want to display now that sign up to app, I can come to the text, I can come to the code and say it does not refer, the text does not refer to the login text, it now refers to sign up title. Copy that sign up title and paste it here, sign up title. And you'll see that it will change to sign up to app. And what I need to do for the user to sign up, they need to input their, so I'm working on an app, so let's say it will have a black background. And for the user to sign up, they will need to input their, something like their username and password. Username, email, password. Let us create a sign up page. So the first thing that a user can input is maybe the username. And you said when you drag a view into your app, you need to constrain it. And to constrain it, you just use this constraint at the end of every view that you have. So you constrain it on the right, the left, and also the top. We are constraining it to the sign up to up, so up there. And I don't think that having a black background is doing well for us. So what I'll do, I'll change the background to white. And if I want to do that, I go to my code, I can split and go to where I define my background to be white. As you can see, my background is white, and the problem has come at the sign up because the text is white. Text color now I want it to be black, because by default it's white. And yeah, and I can also make it bold. To make it bold, you can write something like style and then wait for Android to, you can just write text style, and wait for Android to do that for you, and double click, and the style will be bold, just like that. And as you can see, the app is bold up there. Now that is the name. That is where the user will input the name. That is where the user can input the name. The next thing that we want the user to input is maybe the email address. We can have an email address. So in our text, we choose an email address input field. So the email address, this will be the email address, and then we constrain it. And we say that we have to constrain things horizontally and now vertically. This is the email address. I'll constrain it to the name. And for the name, what we said, if the user doesn't know what to input, you can give them a hint. And for input, you don't use the text, just use a hint. Just say hint, and then Android will just do that. And the hint will be input username. And everywhere where you are using such text, it's actually recommended you define them in the strings. So here I can define my string name is equals to what do we call it? What was the name? Input username. But it will still work. If I don't want to use the strings, you can see it has said input username. But I don't want to do this because it's not that recommended. Because maybe if I was to change my app to be Spanish, it would have been quite a hard task coming to the code and changing everything every single time. So it's recommended we use the string resources. And what I'll do is I'll introduce another string resource for this text called input username. So I'll do go strings and then username, and then say it's a hint username, and then say please input username, and say please input username. And now back here at my activity main, I won't use this input username thing. I will use at string, and then username, hint username. And you'll see that it will change to please input username. As you can see, it has actually changed to please input username. And it's getting that resource from the strings that is called hint username, which is right over here. Hint username, which is that. And then the next one is hint password. I can say string name is equals to hint. You don't have to do all this, okay? This is just showing you how it's normally recommended to do things in Android. You don't have to do this. Hint password. Then you say please input password, and go back And now for the password, we can say that the hint, we can add the hint, Android hint, and double click and then say it's coming from @string and then hint password, that is it right there. And it has changed to please input password. Then the other one, it will also be a password such that the user will input, oh, this is the email address. Oh, sorry. This is the email address. So please input password. So we can have another hint for, not the hint for, we can have the string for the email address. So you say string name is equals to hint email address, and close that, hint email underscore address. And what is the email address? Input email. So we won't tell the user please. And now what I will just do, as you can see, to just change this text, I don't have to come here. I'll just come here and say hint email address. So let me see whether, yeah, Android Studio has auto-corrected. And the text is input email. And then the other thing we need to add, there are two, for input password and confirm password. So I'll go back to my design and then minimize just a little bit so that I can be able to drag and drop. And the next is password. And for the password, you can see we have different types of password. A password can be numeric and a password can have plain text. So those are the different types. So you just choose which one you feel is the one that you need. I drag in for password. When you select that password, it's what will enable Android Studio to blur out when the user is typing. It will have whatever the user is typing to be blurred out, or just be multiple dots, and drag it down. Let me just drag it down a little bit, and it doesn't want to come down. Okay, yeah, so I think drag it. So this now should be for input password. And now for this input password, since we have already have our strings for please input password, which is called hint password, I'll just refer it to the XML and say this is the text password, and our hint will be at string password, hint password. So you can see hint password, and for please input password. And the last one that we need is for the user to confirm the password. So we drag the password again, and now this will be for the user to confirm the password. So you just tell the user confirm password. Confirm password. So we need to give it a hint so that the user can know that they are confirming their password. So I'll just go to the code. I'll just split and say edit text. What is wrong? It's bringing an error because I haven't constrained it vertically. So I constrain it vertically, and now it has all the constraint that it needs. It will not shout at me. And now say the hint, this is confirm password. So I can just have a hint here to be Android hint to be confirm password. But I don't want to do this. I just feel like using strings for everything. So you say string hint string name is equals to hint confirm I can just say it doesn't have to be even a hint. You can just give any name. I can say confirm, and it will be confirm password. So I say confirm password. That is it. And when I go back to my activity main, I can say the hint is at string, and then confirm, confirm. Yeah, just at string confirm. And as you can see, it has said confirm password. And after that, we need now to let the user be able to log in. And now for the user to log in, they have to click a button to log in. They have to click a button to log in. So yeah, I think the UI is good. And the last thing we can go is to now a button, and this button will be used to sign up. Actually, we are signing up, we are not logging in, because signing up and logging in, those are two very different things. If I want to increase the size of this button, I can use these down arrows. I can use, not the down arrows, I can use these edges, and you can drag the button down and it will adapt to the size that you give it. So if you want it to go horizontally like that, that is how you can change the size of anything, not just a button. Even if you wanted to change the size of this confirm password, you just do the exact same thing. You drag it like that, and you'll see that it's changing its height and everything. So what I'll do is I'll undo also the changing of the button. The change I want to make to my button is just increase it horizontally just a little bit, something like that. Yeah, I think something like that is good. And then I'll constrain it horizontally, and then I'll constrain it now vertically to the confirm password button. I mean edit text, and just have it down there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is the user interface to our app, and we have seen how we can create such a screen, And now what we need to do is join these, have logic to now be able to, when the user inputs their username, we can be able to capture that username. When the user inputs their password, we can be able to capture the password. When the user clicks the button, we can be able to capture a click of a button. And let us start with this button. When a user clicks the button, maybe we can display something like button has been clicked. And to do that, we can use something that we call a toast. And because I want you to see this in real time, I will launch my virtual device. So I'll go to my device manager, top right, device manager. And after going to the device manager, I'll launch my Android virtual device, Pixel 8. So it's launching. So that, because I want to run this app so that you can actually see how it will behave when I maybe write the code for this. And now for this button, you can see its text, it's just button, and I want that text to be sign up. So I can just right click on the button and say go to XML, and I can maximize my screen so that I can have more screen space. And let me minimize my emulator as it's starting up. So the button, I want the button to be named, the text to be not button but sign up. You see, even such a small text sign up, it's not still recommended to have it here. So you can create another string that will hold that sign up. So you say string name is equals to sign up text, and the text is sign up. So this is the text that will be used for our button. And then go back to the activity and say that this text should come up from at string and then sign up text, and it has changed to the correct sign up. Now that is what you can do. That is what you can actually do. And let me see whether my emulator has fired up, and it's still actually doing that. Awesome. So as my emulator opens, let's now see how we can write code that will connect this layout to now the Java. How we can declare our fields, how we can write logic for them, how we can do whatever. And for a last thing, we can display, we can have something down here that will display our errors. So let me have a text view. If maybe a user wasn't able to log in, we can display to them that there was an error logging in. So down here at the button, we can have the last text view. We can have a text view that will just be used to display to the user. If maybe they have logged in successfully, it can say that your details were captured successfully. If there was an error, it will say down here there was an error. So I'll just bring it down right at the button, and I will constrain it, and I'll also increase its size. Let me just increase its size so that the user can know if let me not increase its size, but what I'll do is I'll increase the font size. I'll say that its font size it's something big. So I'll constrain it and then constrain it just below the button, and now drag it down right there. And now what this text will be used to do, it will be used to display information. If there is an error, it will say that your app encountered an error. So let me just say its text size is something like let me just say the text is, not text view, is I will confirm whether everything is okay. I will confirm whether everything is okay. So that is the text. So if we maybe click on the button and there is an error, this text down here should change and say there was an error. Or if maybe someone hasn't input their username, the text down here can say, please input your username. So let me see whether my Google has finished starting, and it hasn't still. So now what we need to do is have all these defined in our Java. So now to connect our user interface, to just think of this now as the backend. The backend being whatever you write here in your Java. This is where you'll write your logic. And to maybe capture something that was in the input username field, you have to reference it to in your Java file. And the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is this? The first thing is input username, and this is an input field. And what we call input field in Android, we normally call them as edit text. So you can see here, even in the XML, it's named as edit text. And it's the exact same thing that you'll do in your Java code. So you say edit text, and then wait for Android Studio to give you this code completion stuff. This is because if you write edit text and then something like username edit text, if you write something like that, you'll see that there's an error. The edit text will be in red. So this means that there are some classes for edit text that you have not imported, and when you click on it, you can click on import class. But if you want to solve these, and if you click on import class, you'll see that up here it has added this line of code: import Android widget edit text. So that will fix the error, and you won't have to be doing that all over again. But now if you wanted it to do automatically, that is why I was telling you to just wait for Android Studio. When you write something new, something like edit text, just wait, and you'll see that the code completion will activate, and you can continue typing. You can just double click on that edit text, and it will automatically import it for you. So you say edit text, username, edit text. So this is the variable name. So we say that in Android, you'll have so many classes that you can use. You can use edit text, you can use text views, you can use so many things: tables, button, card views. All of those, you can use them as variables. So think of this as whatever we are doing in Java, something like string name. This is the same thing that we are doing here with username edit. And yeah, I have had, maybe there could be a message. If you have any queries or messages, you can write your queries here in the chat. If in case of anything, I'll get to here in case of a notification. So the first one is the edit text username. The second one is what? We go back to our layout to see the second one. It's the email. So this is an edit text for the email address. So I go back to my code and say edit text email edit text. And you don't have to have this edit text name here in your variable name. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it whatever you want. If you wanted to name it as email, just email edit, you can name it whatever you want. And since this is the code, I think I can just increase my font size just a little bit. Let me just increase my font just a little bit so that you can all see my code perfectly without needing to just zoom in your eyes or just locking in your eyes with my cursor. So I just go to font and make it something like 17, 20, 20. So apply, and then okay. So this is the edit text for the username. There is the edit text for email, which is the other edit text. Password edit text. So we go and define the password edit text. So we say edit text password edit text. And then the other one is confirm password. So edit text confirm password edit. So you don't have to say edit text, you can just say edit. Confirm password edit. And the last thing, the last two things, which ones are they? Confirm password, because we shall need the user to confirm. And I can just raise my UI slightly. Confirm password, yeah, I think That is okay, and I've raised it so much. Let me just take it down a little bit there. Now we have the confirm, and after confirm we have a sign up button. We will use this sign up button because when the user clicks on that sign up button, they can be able to maybe sign up. When the user clicks, you can capture all that they have input there and sign them up. So user clicks on sign up, and let's go. And sign up is actually a button. So sign up button, you say button, and then wait, and select, double click on the button widget, and it will import the button here. So Android Studio will import for you, and then you say button, sign up button, sign up, I don't know, sign up button. That is our button. And then the last thing is this. The last thing is this, which is down here, the error. I will confirm whether everything is okay. What type of view is this? It's what we call a text view. Okay, this is now something different. This is a text view. This is what will be used to show text, whichever text that you want. And in the same thing, you just say text view, and then wait, and then Android will autocomplete, and Android will import text view. And you can use display text view. So this will be used to display maybe any errors or maybe any information that you need to do. Now, after doing all these, you need to find them. This was just declaring. So this was just declaring your user interface components. This was just declaring your user interface components. After declaring, you now need to find them. When the app starts, it needs to find them. And now down here on the onCreate method, inside these two, inside this curly brace, so just don't go outside this curly brace. So in here, just click on enter, and here now, so leave out all this code. This is Android code. Don't mess with it. It can ruin your code. So just think of this as the main program when an activity starts. This is what has to be set up by Android Studio itself. So don't mess around with that code. That is auto-generated code. Now here is where you write in your code. So write your code here. And the first thing that you need to do is, after declaring your user interface elements, find your UI elements from the layout. And how do we find them? We find them using the find code. We find them using the find view function or code. And how do we write that code? Let's start with the first one, but you don't have to have everything in order. You can start with anything that you want. If you wanted to find the sign up button, we just say sign up button, whatever we have named it up here, the name needs to be exact. If you have a typo, it won't work. So sign up button is equals to find view by ID. This is the code we normally use to find our UI elements. And now inside that find view by ID, you need to provide a unique ID that will define your, maybe your button, maybe your text view. So you say r.id. And what that will do, it will go to the resources and look for an ID that you will provide it for the sign up button. And where do we get these IDs? Let's go back to the layout. Each and everything that you see here has a special ID. And in this case, we are starting with the button. So if we needed to find the ID of our button, we go to the button and then right click, go to XML, and it will go to where the button code is. So our button code is right over here. And the first thing that you see is something we call ID. So now this is the ID that will be used in our Java code. And that ID is defined as the word button. It's at ID button. So now this is what we need to provide here as r.id.button. That is the ID of our button. It's called button. So you have to name it exactly like you have named it here. And if we wanted to find another ID, let's go back to the same process. We need to find username, edit text. So we come here and say username, edit text. Whatever we have named it up there is equals to find view by ID, and then r dot ID. Let's go and see the ID of our username. Username is the first one, so we right click, go to XML, and this is our username. Okay, username. So the first thing is the ID. What is the ID? The ID is named as edit text. So it's even better, it's even recommended you just copy this. So you just copy it. Just copy it, and now go to Java and say dot, and then you paste whatever you have copied. Edit text dot edit text. Its ID is edit text. So I'm not the one who, this ID generated itself automatically, but you can change them if you wanted to. But if you were to change it like right now manually, your code will have so many errors. If you are to maybe change it to edit text, it will have errors because constraint layout is also using these IDs. Is also using these IDs. So it's recommended, just if you haven't changed it at the first time, don't mess up with it, because when you go to maybe others, they maybe depend on that ID. So layout, top, bottom of blah blah blah, they might depend on that ID. So just leave it as that. If you were to change it when you first create that component, not after you have finished your UI. So the next one is the input email. So we go back to our main Java. We now go to this email edit text. So you can say, you can actually copy this. So email edit text, you right click, copy, and then paste it down here. Right click, paste. So email edit text is equals to find view by ID. The same thing, r dot ID dot, then go and find the email edit text. What is the ID of the email edit text? So right click and then go to XML. The ID of the input email is edit text email address. Copy it, and then r.id dot paste it. Email text email address, and then semicolon at the end. The other one is password edit text. So you say password edit text is equals to find view by ID, and then r.id dot do the same thing. But if you had named your IDs, you could have changed them when you are creating the UI, so that you don't have to be checking them all the time. And the ID for the password is edit text password. So we right click and then say edit text password. And then the other one is confirm password edit. Confirm password edit, and then you say is equals to find view by ID, and then r.id dot confirm password edit, and the ID is confirm So let's just go. You can actually check them here. When you put the last dot, it will give you all the IDs it finds. But just to be sure, safe and sure, just go back, click on confirm password, go to XML and check its ID. So its ID is edit text password 2. So if you could have messed it up with the first one, edit text password, so you can see the first one is password, and then this is edit text password 2. So you paste it, edit text password 2. And the reason why this is bringing an error is because I have typed it wrong. Confirm password edit. I haven't written a name, an N. So confirm password edit. And that is how you find your components. And then lastly is the display text view. So you just say the same thing. Display text view is equals to find view by ID, then say r.id.display text view. So let's go to the display text view and see its ID. Its ID is I click on it and then right click, go to XML. Its ID is text view 2. I copy that and then paste it on my main activity. And now that is it. We have finished finding our UI elements. And now after finding them all, we can now do different things. We can now do different things to our application, such that we can test if our button has been clicked. We can test whether a user has input something in the username edit. So let's start with the button. If the user clicks the sign up button, what do we want the user to do? Let's go to the button. Let's go to the activity, and this is the button that I'm talking about. So just for a test, let me see whether my phone has started. Awesome, my phone has started and system UI is not responding. So let me just click on that. So my phone, since my phone has started, I can be able to build and now run this app on my virtual phone. So let me just do that so that we can test out. When I click this button, I want down here, you see where it's written, I will confirm whether everything is okay. I want that to change to something like sign up button clicked. I want it to change to sign up button clicked. And first of all, what I can do, I can increase the font size. So I can say the text size, and then say the text size will be something like 30 sp. I think that's really big. So let us see. Yeah, I will confirm whether everything is okay. 30 sp is really big, so 20 sp. Yeah, 20 sp is good. 20 sp is fitting in perfectly. So I just want you to see that when I click the button, the text down here will be able to change. When I click the button, I will change the text for our text view to be sign up button clicked. And to do that, to test for button click, you have to add a listener to the button. And how do we add a listener? A listener is something that will listen for the button clicks. So just think of it as a detector. So how do you add a detector to the button? You just say the button itself, sign up button dot set on click listener. So this first one, set on click listener. So Android Studio will autocomplete that for you. And then inside here, you can say on click. It's not, so if you want it to complete it for you, you say new on click. So you say new view dot on click listener. So you say new view So if you just write new view, or you say new, let me see whether it will complete when I say new space. Yeah, when you write new space, you say view dot on click listener. This first option, it's saying new view, the one that is starting with view. So you double click on it, and it will generate some code for you. So Android Studio normally just does this by default. So when you just click on new and then space, click on that view. So let me just delete everything and show you once again. So I say button dot set on click listener. So button dot set on, when I just write set on, you'll see the first thing, set on click listener. Double click on it, and then do the keyword new, and then do a space, and you'll see the first one is view dot on click listener. That is what we want. So you select view dot on click listener, double click on it, and it will generate the code for you. So now the place that you're supposed to write if a button is pressed is in this on click method. So this is the this is where you write your code when the button is clicked. This is where you write your code when the button is clicked. And what do I want to do when the button is clicked? When the button is clicked, I want the text view of display to change to what? I want the text view to change to what? Sign up button clicked. Clicked. So these are just comments that I'm writing to show you what I want to do. So when this button is pressed, I want the display text view. So remember, this display text view is the text view that is down here. This one, text view 2. You can see it has been referenced as text view 2 right over here. So I want that text to change to sign up button clicked, because in this case, when we launch our app, you'll see that the text will be, I will confirm whether everything is okay. So now when the button is clicked, I want it to change to sign up button click. And how do I change that text? I just call its name. I just say display display text view dot set text. So we are setting its text. So you just say dot set text. And what do we want to set its text to? We want to set its text to something like sign up button, not button, button clicked. Clicked. That is what we want to set its text to. And this is what we can do. And actually, even in your Java code, Android Studio still recommends for you to create string resources how you are normally doing it. But Android Studio here in Java, it actually offers maybe a shortcut, a shorter way that you can do that. Instead of coming here and writing all that code, Android Studio can also generate this code for you. So you just you can highlight, or you can just click on that. When you highlight, you can see it's telling you to, so you can let me just do that, and with an annotation extract, so you can not right click, you can click on the bulb, because it will show you that there is an error. No, not an error, a warning, just a warning to warn you that it's not recommended to do this. And what you can do to do that automatically, you can set a string resource automatically. And to do that, you just click in anywhere in between those words, and when you click, you'll find this bulb, and click on that bulb, and then say extract string resource. So click on extract string resource, and it will give you the same thing. the resource name, sign up button clicked, and then the value is where you can have it. So just think of the top one here as the key. So you say sign up clicked, and then the value will be sign up button clicked, or you can say sign up button has been clicked if you wanted to change that. So if I wanted to change that, I can say sign up button has been clicked. And what this will do, it will do what we were doing in the strings.xml, but it will do it automatically. If you go to our string, we'll see that it has added up this code. If I click OK down here, it will save the file in the strings.xml. And if I click on the strings.xml, you'll see that it has added to our code sign up clicked, and the text is sign up button has been clicked. And how are they referencing here in Java? And now here in Java, it's different. They are referencing it as r.string dot sign up clicked, r.string dot sign up clicked, the same way we are doing r.id. So in this case, you are saying r.string, so it's going to the strings.xml and picking up the key that has been named sign up clicked, and sign up clicked is sign up button has been clicked. So I hope we have gotten that. And now what this code does is when I run my app, because I can't be able to see this if I have not run my app. Now when I run my app, if I click the sign up button, it will get inside here, and on the on click method it will display whatever we have set up here in the display text view. So let me just run my app. It will build and then install my app on the Android Studio emulator. So Gradle will be building our app. So let us see as Gradle builds. So it will build the app and install it on our Android app. So let's just wait for that. And as we wait, I hope you've gotten all that we have done. What we started by doing, we started by saying that we can implement things like colors here in the colors XML file, and they are found in the values folder. For MIPMAP, we say that this is for our icon, app icon launcher. For the values, we can define colors, we can define strings, and I think you can add some other things too. But that would be if you're doing, you definitely know what you're doing if you're adding all those things. And what I want us to do is we also went to the strings where we set our custom string values. And then we used those string values not only in our layout files, and I don't want this to split, not only in our layout, but also on our main activity. You've seen that you can also use these strings in our main activity where you can reference them using the r.string. Whatever the name you have provided, and r goes to the resources that are in your application. And after we created our user interface, we created it by dragging and dropping our UI components. We created them by dragging and dropping them. And as you are dragging and dropping them, it was generating this code. So this code is auto-generated by Android, but there are some people who actually just write this code by their own, especially if you're using a layout that is not drag and drop. Layout like linear layout, you need to design your layout properly. So in something like the linear layout, you'll tend to find yourself writing so much XML code for your layout. Yeah. And we say that all these text views, all these, everything that is in your activity is in your view, it has its special ID. And two cannot have the same ID. And I can test that out so that you can see. But let me not just change the code because it's building. That can bring some problems. But what I was telling you is that uh, you can't have two IDs that are the same. Each has to have its own unique ID, so that Android can tell the difference between the two, or it can distinguish between all these different user components. So if it's the email, it has to have its own unique ID. And if you right click and then say go to XML, it normally goes to the exact code. It places your cursor where that whatever you've right clicked is defined in the code. And to get its ID, the ID is normally the first thing. And yeah, I think let's see whether this EMS will bring issues, because this EMS, it normally specifies the text view to be this many EMS wide. I think the characters or something. We shall just test that out. If it brings problems, we just remove it in our edit text. And then after defining all those different views, we went to our main activity Java class and then created variables. So these are the instance variables of our edit texts. We defined our edit text for the username, and they all have to have their own unique variables. So for the username edit text, we created a variable for it. For the email, we created a variable for it. For the password, we created a variable for it, a confirm password, all of them. For the button, you saw that we used a new different class, the button widget class in Android. Text view, the Android widget text view class. And on create method, we now reference them using the find view by ID. So just think of this as how you can bind your UI to your logic. And for the sign up button, we found it using its ID that had been declared in the XML file, in the layout file. And also for the username, we used the ID for the username, which was edit text. And then for the confirm, for the email, we use the ID for edit text email address. And we said that that ID has to be the exact same ID that has been defined here. If it's for the password, it has to be the exact same ID. If it's for the button, it has to be the exact same ID for the button. And now a special case for the button is when we want to ensure that a button has been clicked. And to test for a button click, we have said that what we do is set a non-click listener for our button. So you just say the button name and then dot set on click listener, and then just type new and then type space, and you select whatever starts with view.onClick listener. That is how you can do a listener. And when you type view, you select the one that has view.onClick listener, Android Studio will automatically generate that code for you. And that code will be generated down here, and it will be the on click. Now At the on click is where you now write your logic for the app at the on click method. And in this case, what do we want when our button is pressed? We want the display text view that is down here to set the text to be r.string, and we created this automatically. You can just have it in here as the string, but we just said we do the standard of what is required by Android. We create a resource variable in the strings folder, and Gradle has finished and it's launching our app on our device. So let it install, and we can launch our app. Install successful, and our app has been launched. Let me increase the size and bring it in the middle a little bit so that you can all see. So let our app open and see how it will behave. So our app is opening, and exactly, that is our app. So you can see everything is okay. We can be able to interact with the edit texts. We can be able to place our cursor on the input email, input password. So if I was to input my username, something like Eric Mwenda, so I can input it using my computer's keyboard, Eric Mwenda. And if I was to input my email, you can see also the keyboard for the phone is actually coming in here. I can also delete. If I was to input my email, yes, you can see that I can input my email, eric at gmail. Where is at? This is an email keyboard, so it should have the at right out of the box. So eric at gmail you can see down here there is the .com already, because we selected that the input type of this field is an email. If we place our cursor on the first one, the keyboard will change. You'll see that here is the emoji thingy where you can add emojis, because for that we are just inputting just the text itself. But since the input type for the email is specified as email, you'll see that the phone's keyboard will change here to .com. So that means that the input type is an email, so the phone understands. That's why you'll see that sometimes your keyboard changes dynamically. If you want to input an email somewhere, you'll see that maybe an art comes here, but when I want to input my username, you can see my keyboard has changed, and it's giving me an emoji. What is making that change is when you go to your activity main and go to the first one. The first one is the email address. So for not the email address, but the second one is the email. The first one is username. So you can see that here is where the input type is defined as text email address. So this input type is what is making the keyboard to change. This is what is making the keyboard to change. And is there any query? Let me see whether there's any query. If there's any query, you can just have it on the chat box. So this is what is making the keyboard to change dynamically. If I click on the email input field, it will change it to how you can input an email address on your keyboard. And as you can see, the input type, even it hasn't been specified. But for these others, for the password, it has been specified as input type to be text password. So this input type is what will make when I type any letter, it will just censor it and have it as ... It will convert anything I input to those dots because the input type is defined as text password. And also down here for the confirm password, the input type is also defined as the text password. So if I click on anything, it will be censored. It will be censored to those dot 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 dot. But now what we wanted, if I want to hide my keyboard, I can click down there. So now what we wanted to test out was this button. If we click this button, if we click that button, the text view that is down there should be changed to sign up button has been clicked. So we changed it into the strings.xml and said sign up clicked is defined as sign up button has been clicked. So let us see whether when we click on this button, the text down here will change. And fingers crossed, if I click on the sign up button, you can see that it has changed. If I click on the sign up button, you can see down here, I can zoom in and let me just show you. You can see sign up button has been clicked. So if I was to restart the app, so let me just restart it on the phone and clear it. So let me just start it so that you can see it happening in real time. Clear all. And let me relaunch it. Where is my app? My app, yeah, this is my amazing app. So you can see that the name of the app is what we specified here in the strings, called my amazing app. And that is the name that will appear on the screen. And let me launch it. I want to launch the app, and it's just that I have zoomed in the screen so that when I click this button, you'll see that the text down here changes. So the text will actually change. So I just click on sign up, and you see down here, sign up button has been clicked. So yeah, that is it for having some logic to our application. And now as the last thing, I want to show you how you can change between two pages. We have a sign up to app page, and what we want to have is another activity or page that, or screen, in this case it's another display screen, which will be named as login. So I want, when I click on login, it will go to the login page. So what I can do is what is that? I can minimize this up, and I can add one last thing. I can add a login button. I can add a login button, and what that login button will do, that login button once clicked, it will go to the login screen. So let me just add the login button, and now this will just show you from the get-go because I won't be explaining now everything. So the login button, it will go to the login screen. So I constrain it. This is how we now do. We constrain it on the left and then on the right, and then I'll constrain it to this. I will confirm whether everything is okay, and then just drag it down a little bit. And this button, what do I want it to say? I want it to say go to login page. Go to login page. So right click, go to XML. I won't need to set the XML strings folder. I can do that later. So it will say go to login page. Go to login page. when I click that button, it should go to login page, and exactly you can see that the button has said go to login page. Now we need to do what we did for everything. For the other button, we say that you have to first declare it up here. So you say button go to or say go to you can say go to login page button. So I will name it as button go to login page button. And then the second thing is finding that button. So you say go to login page button is equals to find view by ID, and then r.id. Go and check the ID that that button has been given. But I can show you, if you wanted to change that ID, you can actually right click and go to XML and then say its ID. Since I've just created it right now, I can change its ID to whatever I want. I can say button, then I can call it go to login page button. But I'm doing this because I haven't added anything else. So if you've added anything else, you can it's not recommended, just use what you have. But if you have it the first time, like now is the first time I'm adding it, I can change its ID and there won't be any problems. So the ID is now my new ID that I have set, which is go to login page button. I can copy that ID and then go to my main activity and then paste that ID and then do that r.id. go to login page button. So as long as you know that you have pasted it perfectly, it shouldn't be a problem. Even if you see here there's actually a problem, we have done it correctly and we are so sure of that. And now what you need to do is create an on-click listener for that button as well. So I'll create my on-click listener below the sign up button logic. So I say go to login page button and then say dot set on click listener, and Android Studio will autocomplete, and then say new space, then the one that has view.onClick, I double click on it and it will generate the exact same code that is on top here. And now here is where I will do what? I will go to the login page. Here is where I'll go to the login page. So I can comment out something like go to login page here. And now for the login page, we have to have another activity. So this is like switch to the login activity. So we have to create a login activity. And how do we add an activity to Android? We just right click. You see here at the com dot whatever, so you just right click on that folder that is containing your main activity file. Click on that folder that is up there and then right click and then you say new, and then down here you say activity, and for the activity you select empty views activity. So that will create a new activity that will be like what you are creating when you are starting your application, and our activity name will rename it to login activity, and it will create an activity layout file that will be called activity login, and the programming language will be Java, and leave everything else as it is, and then click on finish. And after you click on finish, it will create now that login activity for you. So now what we want to do is go to go to the login activity. And for the to open the login activity XML, you can see it's just blank. You can see it's just blank. So to distinguish it from our main activity, we can add something like a text view and an image. We can add something like a text view and say login activity. So we just add a text view and then constrain it, and after constraining it, we constrain it horizontally and also vertically. And then I can maybe change its position to be somewhere here and change its text. So in this one, I can just hard code everything, so that to show you that you can actually do whatever you want. So I'll, instead of text view, I want it to say login activity, login to app activity, and it's in capital. So if I split, you'll see that the text has changed to login activity. I want to increase that text. I say text size, and then wait for 100. Text size, I want it to be 40 sp. 40 sp, is that too large? That is too large. Let it be 30 sp. Yeah, 30 sp. And I also want it to make bold, so I say text style, and then wait for 100, and then say bold. Login to activity. Awesome. And also I want to add an image, so I go back to my designer, and let me just add an image view. I don't know where we will get an image, so we can select. So when I've just dragged that image, automatically it has given me these things. So you recall how you can add your own image. So I'll just pick an image from pick an image that is here in the sample data. So I'll just click on this snail image and click OK, and it should display my image. Awesome. Yeah, it has my snail image, and for this snail image we need to constrain it. So I will, another way you can constrain, if you don't want to drag your thing, you can use the attributes. So these square here is used to constrain stuff, is used to constrain your views. So if you click on the left one, it will constrain it to the left of your screen, constrain it to the right of your screen, and also constrain it to the top of whatever it finds at the top, and log into app activity. And I can also maybe, yeah, I think log into app activity. Yeah, so we'll treat this as a login. So it's just to show you that there's a difference between the two activities. And now to switch from my main activity to my login activity, after I have created my login activity, I just go to where I have defined my button on click logic, and now use something we call an intent. Okay, to do this, we normally use intents. Just think of intents as a way of how your app will be communicating with everything. And also your app can communicate with other apps, such as if you wanted to take a photo from your camera and then display it to your image view, you will use an intent that takes that photo from the camera app, or launches the camera app and takes that photo and displays it in your app. So this is a way that data is transferred between your app. And in this case, we normally have inclusive and exclusive intents. So you'll look into that later. But in this case, what you're going to do is to use an intent to just switch on from the login activity to the main activity. And to do that, we just write intent since intent is something new, you just write the word intent and then say intent, double click on the Android content intent, and it will import the intent class for you right over here. It has imported the intent class. And to do that, you just say intent. What do you want to do? We want to go to login activity. Intent, go to login activity, or I can just say open login activity. Open login activity is equals to new intent, and then press enter. So now inside these two brackets, round bracket, what you need to provide is the context, and then you provide the activity that you are going into. And to do that, for the context, you can say, where are you coming from and where do you want to go? So where are we coming from? From the main activity dot this. You can do something like this. You can say main activity dot this, and then where do you want to go? Login activity dot class. So if you've looked deeper into Java, you'll know that when a Java class is compiled, it produces a class file. So this is what we are specifying here. We want to go to the login activity to its class, okay, to its class of the compiled. I don't know why they decided to call it .class, but that is the only thing that we need to do. We need to define our intent, open login activity, and then say it's equals to the new intent. And where are we coming from? From the main activity dot this class into the login activity dot its class, the login activity class file. And after doing that, we now start our activity. So start activity, and then open login activity. You say start activity and then open login activity. So whatever the activity that you have named it up there. And by doing that, that is how you can switch between two different activities. And we can test out and see that in our app. So I'll just rerun the app. So the app will now build and then run. And that is how you can switch between two different activities. So let us see. And to add an activity, we said that you go to where the com is. Let me just press home so that the app launches itself automatically. And the way that we added a new activity was we went to example, the folder that was in the main activity, right-clicked, and then selected new, and then selected activity, and then selected empty views activity. And then it produced the login activity, of which we named it as login activity, and it also produced the activity login XML, which has a picture. So which has a picture of a snail, of which we will see that right now. So I'll just bring my screen in the middle, and yeah, so let us see, and we can just basically do what we were doing with our app. You can be able to input your username, your email, password, confirm password, sign up, and then this text was changing when you clicked the sign up button. The text was changing to sign up button has been clicked. But now this down button, the go to login page button, when clicked, it should go to the login page that we have created that has a snail on it. So let me just click on the login page, and fingers crossed, yep, it goes to the login activity, but it's not displaying the snail. And because I know the reason why. It's because the image hasn't been it's not properly formatted, this image. So if I can just drag in my own image, so to just solve that is something very simple. I can do what I can. I'm pretty sure it's because this image, you can see the layout is going even down here. If I was to minimize my phone, you can see it's going even outside the screen. So what I can do is I can maybe drag and drop in my own image. So let me go to my Finder and just get a random image. So images, where can I get an image? Where can I get an image? So let me just get an image. So let me just get this image right over here. Screenshot, blah blah blah. I can copy it, and let me see whether. So let me right click and copy. Then we say that images normally go to the drawables folder and then paste, as you can see. And we said it's really good to name your image with small letters. So you say my image.png, and it will create my image. And now what I can do is I can go to this snail image, right click, go to XML, and then where is it saying uh, it's src, it's getting from the scenic, its image was getting from the scenic. I delete that, and by deleting that you'll see that it doesn't have anything. So what I'll do is I'll add my own image. I'll reference my own image, which I have pasted here, and go to activity login. Now go to the XML code and say src android.src is drawables. I can just write my image. Yeah, it will say at drawable, then my image. And if I go back to my view, you can see that it has my image. And the problem is that my image is in landscape mode. It's not recommended to. So what I can do is crop it out. Let me just crop it so that I don't want my image to have what is here, this white space, because I'm sure the layout will just push my image down, and you won't be able to see it well. So I can just do this. I can just make it a portrait image. So just say something like that. So that, then I crop it out. Yeah, just that, and then edit, and then crop. Where is tools, crop? Where is crop? Yeah, crop, and then save it. Then save it, and then exit, preview. Then where is my folder? So I just copy now my cropped image. So you can see my image is in portrait mode. Copy it, and then go to Android Studio. I can now name this as my image 2. So I can name it as my image 2, because you can't have my image. I can just name it as image, because I also doubt whether XML likes you naming things with numbers. So I'll just right click now to this image, go to XML, and instead of having my image here, I just say it's image. And when I go back, you can see that, yeah, my image is doing well. And by doing that, I just launch my app. I just relaunch my app. So it will build the app with now the new image. It shouldn't take time. So that is just to show you how you can add an image to your app. So what I am using is actually an image view. So I just dragged and dropped an image view, and the src meant where the image is coming from. So if I go to the code here, src was from the drawables, and the image, whatever you have named it, that is what you have to specify here. So src, think of it as the source, and the source is the drawables folder, and the image is named as image. The same thing that we were doing, maybe if it's strings, we say it's from @strings, and then it's named as whatever the name that we have named our string resource. And yeah, lastly, let's just hope that this works and our app is launching. And let me just bring it in the middle here. And when I click on sign up, it says sign up button has been clicked. When I click on go to login page, you should now be able to see my image well, or not. Oh yes, exactly. So you can see my image now perfectly. Yeah, now what I'll do is I'll to go back, you can actually click on back, and it will go back to the sign up activity. And if you click on login page again, you can switch between pages. So if you had so many pages, or if you had so many activities, this is what you can just do. On the main activity, what we have just done is set an on-click listener for our button, and just used an intent to open our new activity. So we said intent is equals to new intent, and then you say main activity dot this. And here it's not a must you say main activity dot this. You can also use another function we call get application context. You can also do that. You can also write get application context and then say login activity dot class. There is no problem with that too. But you can also do whatever we used, of which you just say it's from main activity dot this, and then to login activity dot class. So notice that the last one is not this. I can't write class. Maybe I'm tired of the class and it needs to end, of which we are through. So it's login activity dot class, and the other one was main activity dot this. But if you don't want to say main activity dot this, you can say get application context. So that is it. And what we did last time is it was very easy for you to share your app. And to share your app, you just go to build, and then you build APK. You just select build bundles and then build APK. It will build your APK, and you can actually share your app now with your students or with your friends. So that is it for today. I hope you have gotten something. I hope you have gotten on how we can set up string resources, how we can set colors, how we can add new activities, how we can add images. We have done quite a handful. That is why it was really necessary to record this session, so that if you want to go back, you can look at everything. So I will upload the session and share with you the link. So now after this, maybe one of the things that we can actually do is now write the logic to actually sign up a user and log them in. For that, We can use things such as Firebase. We can use things such as Firebase to sign up the user, to log in our users. Something like Firebase, just think of it as an online database or an online cloud service. We can use that to sign in our users. We can use that to log them in. If they were to upload images to our app, or maybe on their profiles, we can also use Firebase to store those images and display them in our apps. And yeah, so that is it for the day. Everything has been recorded. Maybe now if there are questions, if there are not, I can end the recording. And I have seen that it has finished building our APK. So I can do the thing and just locate. And yeah, here is the APK and it's named app debug. So you can actually rename it to whatever you want. So I can say lesson.apk activity 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 lesson.apk. And yeah, that is how you can interact with things to do with activities and everything in between. So I will send this APK to you so that you can install it on your apps and see whether it works perfectly for you. And I can delete this. I can delete my image because you're not using it, and I can build it again because I know that image is the one that was making the app to be really big. It was 13 MB and it shouldn't be that big. It should be below 10 MB. So I'll build and send the app to you guys so that you can see. And if you want to add other functionality to the app, you can definitely do so. If you want to get the text from the edit texts, you can, yeah, you can see now it's 7 MB or 7 meg, and we have said that the app name is activities class or lesson. So I'll share this APK with you, and that is it for today. Yeah, thank you for joining in for the lesson. I'm pretty sure we have covered quite a lot for today, from knowing the hexadecimals of colors and everything in between. So that is it. It's actually time, so I can end the recording.